directly to the assembly point outside, following instructions of staff members. The use of mobile phones is not allowed at any time by members of the public. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. We may call the roll, please, Carmen.
Corlor O'Flynn. Corlor Maher. Corlor Tynan. Corlor Kavanagh. Corlor Moran. Corlor Keohane. Corlor Fitzgerald. Corlor Nugent. Corlor Sheehan. Corlor Collins. Corlor Ryan. Corlor Boylan. Corlor Cahill. Corlor Bogue. Corlor Desmond. Corlor McCarthy. Corlor Shannon. Corlor Ford. Corlor Mickfinn. Corlor Boyle. Corlor Martin. Corlor O'Callaghan. Corlor Deneen. Corlor Kearns. Corlor Dennehy. Corlor Kenty. Corlor Colette Finn. Lord Vera.
Unso.
Corlor Garrett Kelleher. Corlor Maloney. And Corlor Ring.
We have a quorum. Okay. Thank you. We'll stand for the prayer, please. Direct, we beseech thee, O Lord, our actions by thy holy inspirations, and carry them on by thy gracious assistance, that every word and work of ours may always begin from thee and by thee, happily ended through Christ our Lord. Amen. Pause for a moment's reflection. Cormaguff. I would like to propose a suspension of standing orders to allow the media cameras into the council chamber for the handover of the Lord Mayor's chain and to stream and record the meeting live. Proposed by Councillor and seconded and agreed. Perfect. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to, I suppose, first start with a few comments of my own. First of all, I want to thank the outgoing Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork, Councillor Mary Rose Desmond, for serving your city in an impeccable manner this past 12 months. And it has been an honour and a privilege to serve alongside you. You've done the office a massive service, and you should be immensely proud of what you have done. So, Mary Rose, Curmila Mahagat. I would like to thank all the elected members of Cork City Council for affording me this opportunity to serve as Lord Mayor for the last 12 months. Difficult times, and I know we started off on a virtual platform, but thankfully we've been able to get back to physical sittings. And we come in here on a monthly basis and we hammer out issues, and we sometimes may disagree. But I think we're all in here for the same reason, and that's for the betterment of our city. So the people in the gallery, I would ask you to applaud the elected members of Cork City Council. On behalf of myself and my family, I want to pay a special thanks to the Chief Executive and your team here in Cork City Council. I don't envy your job by any stretch of the imagination, and I have to say that in the last 12 months you have made my job as easy as possible, but not only yourself, your executive staff and Director of Services, all of them, and all the members of Corporate Affairs, and Alma alongside me here has made my life as Lord Mayor for the last 12 months as easy as possible. And Alma will know, and I'll miss been handed the agenda with the dummies guide to chair a council meeting at the first Monday of every month. But the current role of a Lord Mayor is an apolitical one. And as Lord Mayor, you are above politics and you cannot have personal policies. Instead, as first citizen, you are the face of the beautiful city. And as a Lord Mayor, you express the warmth of our people, whether it's in welcoming visitors, offering votes of congratulations, or expressing condolences. And as I said, the Lord Mayor does not have policies. However, a term as Lord Mayor may have a theme. And by a team, I mean an event or events synonymous with your year in the role. We think of McCurtain and McSweeney offering their lives for Irish freedom. Sean Casey welcomed John F. Kennedy to City Hall. Frank Nash received home the double-winning teams of 1990, or the quiet dignity of Dr. John Sheehan and Councillor Joe Kavanagh serving our city through times of COVID. I want to think of my time as Lord Mayor as a time when life came back after the COVID-19 pandemic. For over 2 years, COVID took up excessive debate in public and civic life, and it was the only thing that was discussed. Other issues, unfortunately, did not get their recognition or the discussion they deserved. However, in the past months, we have seen an outpouring of support and solidarity for the people of Ukraine. And I was proud to see the Ukrainian flag flying high over City Hall, expressing our support for their struggle, a struggle that we as Irish citizens can relate to. For myself, I was proud to begin the debate on the regulation and the calls for supervised medical injection centres for drug users in Cork. As an ordinary councillor, I will continue to advocate and speak into this debate for Cork. We cannot solve this problem by pretending it does not exist. In economic terms, we have seen life change and life coming back to our city with the announcement of enormous financial investment into the redevelopment of the Docklands, the upgrade of Bishop Lucy Park, all funds ring-fenced by central government. The return of house building has seen many new developments completed within the city, and as recently as this week, I had the honour and privilege of opening 106 new social homes across our beautiful city, and we have 33 similar projects in the pipeline, either at planning, detailed design or construction, and that is a massive vote of confidence by our executive in our city to provide social housing and put it at the forefront of this council's agenda once again. And I hope this trend will continue to provide the necessary housing for the people of Cork in the coming years. The planned development of Bus Connects within Cork will revitalise public transport in the coming years, and we will see a 53% increase in bus services in Cork. We have 2 24-hour routes, buses that are serving previously underserved areas, and these improvements can only be good for Cork. Yet I believe the most significant part of life coming back was how people began to meet again. And we have seen the return of historical ceremonies at a critical time in our history. Community groups and residents' associations are meeting again. We have seen the return of live music and shows, live at the Marquee, the Cork Jazz Festival, and last week the Cork Summer Show. People are going to sports fixtures again, and children are again meeting their friends and going on their school tours. And there's no more restrictions in the City Hall canteen, which I'm sure for the staff will be a merited welcome back. When I took office 12 months ago, I stressed that Cork was a city with rich potential, resources and community, and that our future must involve putting these things to work for Cork as a collective. And as I leave office and life comes back to our beautiful city, and as I return onto the council floor, I will continue to advocate for putting these things to work for Cork. It is the future of our city, and we must all get there together. As I stand down, I offer my full support and encouragement to my successor, and I wish to thank the staff of Cork City Council and the Lord Mayor's office for the help and kindness and gratitude you've given me to serve as First Citizen for the last 12 months. And I know that you will give every support to our new First Citizen. Finally, may I thank those who helped me make this year possible, to my family, my friends, my campaign workers, supporters, and my fellow councillors who helped me reach the role as Lord Mayor. And thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It is because of you that I had this most humbling honour to serve as first citizen of this beautiful city, an extraordinary honour that allowed me to welcome visitors, offer congratulations, express sometimes condolences, which encapsulate the beautiful warmth of the people of this beautiful city. Gurmila Magav Galera. Gurmagav. I will now open the floor to speeches from the elected members. Councillor Des Cahill.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I suppose I have the privilege of speaking on behalf of Fine Gael and thanking you for your work over the last 12 months, your energy. I think even just listening to your speech there, it just demonstrated how well you performed as the year. I would say also that it's going to be a difficult transition. Having done that myself, there's a few different ways it could happen. You could go back tonight and tomorrow and meet your friends and family and nothing will have changed. They'll hang on every word you say and so on and so forth. Or, like me, you could arrive home with the portrait under your arm and you'll be told to put it in the attic and get over yourself. So it will be a tricky one. I think you should go on holidays, but you can't go on holidays because we have the development plan on Monday. But thereafter, I think you should take a break. I'm sorry, before we go on, I'd like to acknowledge Senator Bottomer, Minister Coveney, a former Lord Mayor and MEP Deirdre Clune, and former Lord Mayor Jim Carr in the audience. Jim actually should get 2 seats because he was Lord Mayor twice. So indeed, it is a wonderful honour, but it's also very serious in the sense that what a lot of people forget is that you have to chair the council. That's the nuts and bolts of it. The rest of it, people see on the newspaper and so on. And I think you were very much a fair chair, a tough chair at times, but that just comes with the job. And I think you handled it really, really well. We look forward to having you back on the benches, and I know that you continue to represent the city. There is no doubt that there mustn't be a single person in Ballincollig isn't now fully aware that they're part of the city. But the whole city was glad that we've come out of COVID. You brought great energy to that. You lifted the city as it needed to be. And may I wish you and your family much success in the future and enjoy a well-earned break. And finally, very briefly, I forgot Councillor Anthony Barry to welcome him also. Thanks, Lord Mayor.
My apologies to the Minister and former Lord Mayors and MEP. I was very nervous walking in here and I had blinkers on, I didn't see. You're very welcome to the Council Chamber this evening. My apologies. Councillor Fergal Dennehy, please.
Good morning, Lord Mayor. And it's lovely listening to you this evening, I must say. The passion was certainly there. And yeah, you've had a wonderful year, Lord Mayor. And, you know, it'd be wrong of me to not deal with your incompetency first. You know, how could you drive a car through a car wash with the sunroof broken, Lord Mayor? But that's that. That is the only incompetency that was witnessed for the entire year. And it's hard to believe, Lord Mayor, that just 3 years ago, Ballincollig was in the county, different local authority. There was a lot of fear out there. You know, it was a land grab, and we had all the debates and reports and that. You know, within 24 months, it had its own Lord Mayor, the first citizen of Cork, resided there. And you yourself, Lord Mayor, it's hard to believe that within 24 months of entering this council chamber, you too became Lord Mayor. It's an incredible achievement. The young man, prior to that, you know, you were involved in your local community in various aspects of politics and that. But you know, to be propelled into that position in such a short period of time and to deal with it as you've dealt with it is a huge achievement and something that we're all very proud of. Councillor Cahill mentioned the people of Ballincollig, and just looking at social media threads in the last few days, there's great pride in Ballincollig, Lord Mayor, in terms of how you represented them. You know, you really put Ballincollig, your hometown, on the map, and That is very evident, as I said, through social media and everything else. And, you know, there is no job description for Lord Mayor. That's what makes it, I think, a very unique role. And each Lord Mayor will come into this chamber and, you know, they'll have their own ideas and ideals and aspirations. And I think yours were certainly very evident. You know, you spoke about economic development and you spoke about it at a time when, you know, it's very easy to forget here this evening, but this time 24 months ago we couldn't even come in, or 12 months ago we couldn't even come into City Hall. You know, a lot of business stores were closed and that. And you took on that brief and you promoted Cork, both nationally and internationally in Washington and other places. And you did that extremely well, Lord Mayor. For that we are very grateful. I think coming across over the last 12 months as well, your knowledge of history, your deep Republican roots, I think, certainly came out. And, you know, each time you mention McCurtain and McSweeney and the pride that you have in wearing that chain, it is extremely evident. You spoke about it again here this evening, Lord Mayor, and it is so evident, and it's beautiful to see. You know, it's someone that wears that chain with great pride. And as I said, you reopened City Hall to the people of Cork. You know, it's something that we had been waiting for over 2 years, and you opened it to the people and to the hundreds of dignitaries and the community groups that were in here. And, you know, you served us well through all of that. I think you've done your family proud, Lord Mayor, over the past 12 months. And, you know, one of the things I liked about your morality is your honesty. You know, any issue that arose over the 12 months, you were honest, Lord Mayor. And, you know, sometimes in here we think we need to sort of maybe have a persona, but you didn't, Lord Mayor. You were honest about your life and everything, and that was good. It's good to see our first citizen lead by example, and you certainly did that. And I suppose one of the roles, and you mentioned it in your introduction, is being fair. You know, people forget that actually, that the Lord Mayor's job is to chair this, and it's not always the easiest of jobs to control the 30 other members in here, but you did that, Lord Mayor, and you did that well, and you did that fairly and impartially, you know. And along the way we had a bit of banter as well across the chamber, which you know, considering some of the debates that we have had here the last 12 months, I think that bit of banter was welcome as well. So you've done an excellent job. I want to thank you for making Finbar go viral on social media in the last 24 hours, and, you know, it was lovely that you acknowledged the role that Finbar and Nicola and the rest of the team have in here, and the work that they do as well for the Lord Mayor's office. It's a big job. You know, you have other teams, Lord Mayor, and you spoke about it as well, the supervised injection centres, and, you know, I know that you will continue that when you return to these benches. And can I just say, Lord Mayor, on a personal note, you know, my time is running out. You know, since you did enter this chamber, I've enjoyed a personal relationship that we've built up, and I've certainly enjoyed that during your mayoralty as well. I've enjoyed the chats, and like Councillor Cahill, I hope that you take a break after this. It is a difficult transition. I know from speaking to former Lord Mayors, it is a difficult transition to come down, but I'm sure, like everything else in the past 12 months, you'll deal with that also, Lord Mayor. Come on, good.
Councillor Cletfin, please.
Buicas Ardvera, Tommy Glarter, son on Co-Ventus class. Councillor Kelleher came into the mayoralty in his first term in this extended city, and he's had many firsts. He was the first mayor from the extended city. He's the first past pupil of Colosh to Cullum, and I know he's very proud of those achievements. I also have the advantage of being on the same ward, local area committee, as Councillor Kelleher, and I know what a passionate advocate he is for his constituents, and he's to be commended for that. He's proven himself to be an able holder of the office of Lord Mayor. He is courteous and fair to all parties and none, and he has shown himself willing to take on board comments and views of others, and he conducts himself in a friendly and attentive manner. I, along with my Green Party colleagues, want to congratulate you on a job well done, and I wish you every success for the future. Thank you, Ardvera.
A great pleasure to say this for the last time. Dr. McCarthy, please.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. Can I just start with a very, very brief story, if I may, and there's a reason for this. Lord Mayor, in the summer of 1825, Cork Corporation officials got a hurried message by builders to attend to an old crumbling house on North Main Street, as it more or less met Castle Street. And the officials, as officials do, ran to the spot for fear that something disastrous had happened, because there was building works on North Main Street. They were widening the street. And as the officials reached the house, they entered and they stood in the half light of a room, and they witnessed a hole in the wall that the builders had made. And there they viewed something that they didn't expect to find. It wasn't a body or anything like that, but it was an inscribed stone. And on the stone was an inscription of a ship between two towers, and on one of the towers was a sailor, which was dressed in an Elizabethan kind of style dress on the inscription. And there was a bird on the rigging. And in effect, from viewing the Elizabethan dress motif, what they had found was a carving of the city's coat of arms from 200 years previously. So the stone had been hidden for 200 years. And in the days that followed, the stone attracted much attention, even the attention of a young artist called Daniel Macaleese, who made a sketch of it, even though today the stone has long since disappeared. And it's reputed the coat of arms is a reference to Watergate, which was a medieval portcullis gate within the walled town. And Watergate, I suppose, had a Latin inscription underneath it, Statio Bene Fide Carinis, when it became the city's coat of arms. And of course, the city is evidence of our coat of arms going back to the late 1400s. And many of the inscriptions actually have people, a sailor or something else inscribed. They're always kind of creative, and of course we can find them loads of places. And in recent weeks, a new installation has appeared behind you at your behest on the lovely wooden carving. And during your year as Lord Mayor, you harnessed the municipal status symbol of the coat of arms very well and wielded it to give a voice to those who need their voices heard. And amongst many of the challenges which you listed in terms of injection centres, Ukraine, sexual violence, and others, you harnessed the motto, safe harbour for ships, but consistently reminded all of us that said ships are all symbolic of us citizens and their voices in the city in the present, but also over many centuries in the different social contexts. You consistently reminded us why listening to each other is important, being tolerant of each other is important, being open-minded is important, and having the guts to discuss difficult topics, and ultimately leaving no one behind. And these are traits which were embedded across many of your speeches during the year. And such messages were also those of your Deputy Lord Mayor, Mary Rose Desmond, who also did a tremendous job. In her most recent hosting of the Freedom of the City, she drew also on the Safe Harbour for All and praised the extraordinary resilience and fortitude of Mary Crilly's work in the Cork Sexual Violence Centre for almost 40 years, and quoted, "Not only have thousands benefited from this work and dedication, but she has driven societal change in the way that sexual violence is now dealt with in this country, again shining a spotlight on difficult topics we need to grasp." In conclusion, Lord Mayor, in your opening speech last year, you referenced your grandmother, noting, quote, "Being a business owner in Perry Street, Eiley was more often than not in conflict with the then corporation, and she used to say, Colm, if you ever make it to City Hall, go in there and sort them out." And you concluded to us last year, "Well, Eiley, I'll try my best," was the quote. You've done more than your best. Congratulations, great job, and many thanks for everything.
Thank you very much, Dr. McCarthy, for those lovely words. Apologies, I'm getting a bit emotional. But I can assure the incoming Lord Mayor, whoever that may be, when you mentioned Watergate, I have not left listening devices in the Lord Mayor's office. Councillor Olin Ring, please.
Gurmil Magad Ardvera and Erdús Boirda Bwala Marag Willem Harava Brodul Lowerton Shaw Har Kion Hin Féin agus Bwalam Cogardas a Vruna Urtsa agus Ra Latsa a Sutton Vrina Via Gut Sakahir agus and Slowra Har Timple de Vanale. A year ago, Ardvera, we were in Ballincollig, and it was a Ihestar Ulavion, really, a very, very historic night and a very special night for you on a personal note to wear the chain of McCurtain and McSweeney and to be elected Ard Vera Chorkee. And I want to say on behalf of the Sinn Féin group, big congratulations and a well done on a year in which you excelled in many, many ways. You had, I suppose, the privilege of being the Ard Vera in office as we emerged from COVID and life came back to our sporting fields, our estates, our streets. And I think that you led that admirably and well done on that. Last year, Ard Vera, in my remarks to you, we spent a little bit of time focusing on our mentioning McCurtain and McSweeney and what it means to us as councillors across party and none. And I know that's something that you hold close to your heart, and it's an honour that you wore proudly. And I think one of the high points this year, I suppose, for you, and I know it was something Councillor Joe Kavanagh put in motion, but the freedom of the city for the families of McCurtain and McSweeney. I want to commend you on bringing them into the chamber here when it was safe to do so, and I think that was a very, very appropriate way. And in many, many ways, as we are in, I suppose, the decade of centenary, it kind of brought everything full circle. So I know that was a special occasion for yourself, and I want to compliment you on that. One other thing, Ard Vera, I want to highlight, and I know it's been touched on by other speakers and yourself as well. Inside in this chamber and in other chambers across Ireland, you know, we all have different political opinions and political differences. We have our debates and we have our arguments at times. But in the last couple of months, I think cross-party and none, we've been united in a feeling and a solidarity with the Ukrainian situation. And that's not unusual. I think, look, we're a militarily neutral nation, and for a good reason, given our history of colonialism and imperialism. But we're not neutral when it comes to opinion and humanitarian aid and support. And I think Ireland has led admirably in that way. And I think you, Ard Vera, as Ard Vera Chorkee, were to the forefront in that. The executive, I think, and yourself really, really led from the front when leadership was required. And on that particular night, we had a very deep and emotive and strong debate here about what it meant to people. And then other councillors mentioned the attacks on local government out there, and I think all of us felt that link with McCurtain, McSweeney and the burning of City Hall a century ago. So I know it was a big privilege for you to be in the Cahir and Shin, but I do want to say on our behalf here, I thought you really led admirably on that issue, and I think it was one of the highlights of your year. Mahu Asok Chin, Ard Vera. In conclusion, I know it was a fantastic year for you personally and for your family as well. And I think you tá sus tilta a gut mar a dúirt an Corlor and Shin. You deserve a break, and I would like to welcome you back to the ward, although it's like you've never gone in a way. And I look forward to seeing you on the benches across here opposite. But once again, Ard Vera, mahu asocht blian úntoch, mahu asocht har cheann Sinn Féin, agus, you know, lig de ski, enjoy the break, and mahu rish. Come on.
Muile buach is Corlor, Gurmil Mahagat. Corlor Ted Tyne and Masha Holle.
Good Ard Vera. On my own behalf and on behalf of my political party, the Workers' Party of Ireland, I wish you all the best for the future, Ard Vera. Good.
Thanks very much, Ted. I was expecting you to walk out. Guramahagot, Ted, thank you very much. Corlor John Maher, Masha Holle.
Thank you, Ard Vera. Just to echo what other speakers have said, I remember last year, and councillors were faced with this challenge every AGM, and were asked to vote on a partnership. And since I've been elected in 2019, I've always thought the partnership should be male-female. You tick the box. I think it should be representative of the council, experience and inexperience. You tick the box. And there was a fear of that, inverted commas, inexperience. And I think what you've done, and it's reassuring, is that young people can show leadership. We can work together. We can collaborate. And I think that was the politics that I witnessed this year. And we have many examples, but there was one, and I remember texting you, and it was instant. and it was when we had the vigil for members of the LGBT community that were murdered, and straight away you were on it. But more importantly, there's a picture in Bishop Lucy Park, and we were all united. And it was one of those moments, led by yourself, where I went, wow, this is it, this is the leadership. This time last year, I remember a moment sticks out in my head, is that in Closh-Cullum, and your mum was over here, and like any other mum, all she wanted to do was run up and catch you. And of course I said, go on, you're grand. And Paul Moynihan on the other side was like Frank Farmer, the bodyguard, and came running towards her to stop her. And I went, oh damn. But you see the pride from your mum then and your dad. And then you brought us to your chamber. And we all know the chamber and the historical value that goes with it. But out of the corner of my eye, your two kids were up on the wall. And I think over the 12 months, what I've seen is a guy that's about family, it's about his community, and it's about his city. And I think that was incredible. And no matter what event you were at, north or south side, that came through on the radio, on the newspaper. That was to the fore. Again, as people know, my right-hand person is my nephew. And I said to him tonight, oh, I'm going in. And I said, what do you think? He did a great job. I said, all right. I said, why? He said, he wore the chain up in Croke Park and it didn't bother him, and that was at the All-Ireland last year. So in Adam's mind anyway, you get the thumbs up. But Councillor Cahill said, don't take time off. You can take Monday off if you want, right? Because you're going to need the break, and I wish yourself, Sandra, and the baby all the best in the future. Congratulations, Ardvera.
And I thank you for those kind words, John, and to your nephew. But anytime I wore the chain to Croke Park, we lost. So for the next Lord Mayor that comes in, just hopefully play it by ear. I would like to now call on the Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork, Councillor Mary Rose Desmond.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And just before I begin, just to put my words of congratulations with those that have spoken before me on the wonderful year that you've had. You've been a superb Lord Mayor. You've given it absolutely everything. Gusto, a firm hand and fair hand. And I think I can't add a whole lot more to what everybody has said, other than that you have done your city, your community and your family very, very proud indeed, and well done on your year. You were also certainly very generous to me as Deputy Lord Mayor, and I thank you for that. You were generous with the opportunities that you provided me with during the year. You were generous in the way that you included me in an awful lot of the year and your role as Lord Mayor. And I know that's not necessarily, don't take that for granted. I enjoyed the year working alongside things with you. And I suppose for all of us as 31 councillors that are here representing our communities, it's the ultimate privilege, and it's the privilege that we're here at the gift of those that have elected us, and it is our role and job to represent them and represent them well. So I hope that I have done that this year as Deputy, as you said, but certainly I have to say as Deputy Lord Mayor, I had the opportunity to see the city and see things in the city that while I thought I've known the city, I've been born and reared and lived in the city, as I said, albeit having served in the county for 5 years, all my life. And we all think we know it all and we know Cork well, but you get to see what people are doing on the ground. You get to really, and anyone who's deputised will have seen that during the year, and obviously our former Lord Mayors will have seen it. And it's a great privilege because you see the work, the people that are doing it without glory or otherwise, they're just getting on with doing it. And I have to say that's what I enjoyed most. And I know, well, Councillor McCarthy mentioned the Freedom, which was a wonderful day. I think the highlight for me in the year was attending the Pride of Place Awards down in Killarney. And I think from that perspective, I think what was wonderful about that, it was our community projects to the fore, but it was our council to the fore and our city to the fore. And I think great credit to the executive for the work that they've done and continue to do with all of our community groups throughout the city. So I have to say it has been a huge privilege. I want to thank the Chief Executive and the full executive and the team for all their help during the year, particularly the Corporate Affairs Directorate and the Lord Mayor's Office and Nicola and Finbar. Indeed, thank you very much indeed for everything. And I suppose just I would like to thank my own family. As everyone said, it's been a very short 12 months. It's been the first opportunity that we've been here in this historic chamber for an AGM since Councillor John Sheehan was elected. So I've often thought actually of my predecessor, Councillor O'Callaghan, and when he spoke last year with regards to certainly some of the missed opportunities. So that wasn't lost on me this year either, with the fact that we were exceptionally lucky to see the country come back on its feet and have the opportunity to see the city open up and get back to doing what we do best, and seeing the city come alive. But in that, and thanking my family, I suppose I haven't had the opportunity beforehand other than to do so virtually, but with my mother in the chamber this evening and a very staunch history to come on, and my grandmother, I just want to thank them for their help and support. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Las Ardvera. I'll now call on the Chief Executive of Cork City Council, please.
You getting nervous?
I was going to call you Mom again, but...
Lord Mayor, I suppose I'd like to join in the congratulations that everybody has expressed to you this evening, and to thank you on behalf of myself, the Assistant Chief Executive, the Directors of Services and all the staff for all the support you've given us over the year. I suppose for me, there's a couple of things. You're an amazing human being. You're a man of many surprises, a historian, a Gael Gore. You can be very serious, and you can also have great humour, and sometimes humour is needed. As you've always when I'm on a personal level getting a bit excited about something, you say, it's all right, it'll all work out. And you know what? You're usually right. Usually. And I suppose as well, you represented the city so well, and whilst I made great effort to take the man out of Ballincollig, I never took Ballincollig out of the man. And I think that's been reflected by other speakers. You're a great advocate for your community, your town, your constituency, but you were always about the city as well. And it's hard to strike that balance, I know. And I might just finish by saying that I know that you were elected to lead, and you know the rest. So the very best of luck, Lord Mayor, and thank you for everything.
And the tail end of that is we have to. On a trip to San Francisco, and Alma was blue in the face and trying to get me to read my itinerary. And to which she kept at me, and Councillor Canty was there as well, and he was like nudging me, going, "Will you ever just calm her down and read the itinerary?" And to which I returned to Alma and said, "Alma, I was elected to lead, not to read." So it worked out very well. Thank you so much for those kind words. And now I come to the gracious task of calling for nominations and a proposer for the election of our city's next first citizen, the Lord Mayor of Cork. So I'll now take nominations from the floor. Councillor Shane O'Callaghan, please.
Ardvera Corley, Agwina Uishla. It is my privilege to propose Councillor Deirdre Ford as Ardvera of Cork for the coming year. I first met Deirdre in 2014, but I've only really got to know her since being elected to the City Council with her in 2019. Since then, Deirdre has served as a kind of political mentor for the three new Fine Gael councillors, myself, David and Garrett. She might say it's more akin to a political sage, but we say political mentor. And it's fair to say that we've learned a lot from her over the past number of years, because quite apart from the fact that Deirdre's advice to us almost always subsequently turns out to be right, Deirdre, in fairness, always says it as it is. So if she thinks you're doing well, she tells you you're doing well. And if she thinks you're not doing so well, or you're getting too big for your boots, or you're doing, as she'd say, a bit of waffling, she isn't long cutting you down to size and bringing you crashing back down to earth. For instance, I was warned tonight not to do any waffling. And I know that I speak for all my Fine Gael colleagues, and indeed for many of the other councillors in this chamber, when I say that Deirdre has been not only a great colleague, but a great friend over the last number of years. Deirdre's election to the office of Lord Mayor would be historic for two reasons. Firstly, as far as I know, and unless I'm corrected by Councillor Kieran McCarthy, I'll take it as a given that I'm correct. It would represent the first time in the history of the state that a person has been elected successfully to Cork County Council, Cork City Council, and to the office of Lord Mayor. Secondly, and more importantly, it'll be the first time that a councillor representing Douglas has been elected Lord Mayor. And I know that being the first councillor representing Douglas to be elected Lord Mayor of Cork would be a great honour for Deirdre, because Deirdre has a fierce attachment and a great devotion to Douglas and to the people of Douglas. Deirdre has a long and distinguished political career as a councillor. Since first being elected to Cork County Council in 1999, she has won a seat in every election she has contested, first for the County Council and then in 2019 for the City Council. And the fact that she has won every election she has contested will come as no surprise to anyone who knows Deirdre, because Deirdre manages to successfully combine a great work ethic, a willingness for the hard graft, a no-nonsense approach, a witty, engaging and amiable personality, in other words, she's great crack, and a fierce determination to stand up for and fight for the people she represents. For as long as I've known her, and certainly since 2019, Deirdre's guiding principle has always been not what is good for Deirdre Ford, but what is good for Douglas, what is good for Cork, and what is good for Ireland. That is always Deirdre's primary motivation when she makes a decision about what to do in her role as a councillor. And I know that for a fact, because I've actually been privy to Deirdre weighing up the differences in several decisions, and that, I can tell you, is always her primary motivation. Which is why I know that if elected, Deirdre will make an absolutely outstanding Ard Vera of our great city. Gurv Mila Mahagwif.
Gormagat, Corlor O'Callaghan, who's proposed Councillor Deirdre Ford for the election of Lord Mayor. Is someone to second it? Councillor Colette Finn.
I'd like to second Councillor Ford for Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much. Is there any other proposals? Councillor Mick Nugent.
You're going to call me Mick Finn there, I'm sure.
No.
Look, just to start, I suppose, my own best wishes to yourself as well, and outgoing last Ard Vera, Councillor Mary Rose Desmond. We were chatting in Blackpool the other day, and you mentioned, who knows, Ballincollig one day might end up in Cork North Central. And so I was saying we might see more of you. Maybe yourself and Councillor Ring could be in contention, who knows, down the line. No, I suppose I'm more than happy to nominate Caller Fiona Kearns for the role. Fiona is a member of the council since 2007, so she's almost one of the council elders at this stage.
Careful, mate.
Yeah. Co-opted in 2007 following the death of the late Conor Connell. Actually just missed out a seat in 2004 to the great Dino Cregan, just by a handful of votes at the age of 19. I think I'm giving away your age now, Fiona. But it's still, I know I'm treading water here now. But Fiona actually still is one of the youngest councillors in the chamber. And to be fair, I suppose she combines the role of a councillor, full-time worker in the health service, a young family. Little Cara appeared on a number of our online meetings as well during the year, proudly from the parish of Ballyfihan, Ard Vera. We in our group, and I think hopefully others as well this evening, would recognise that experience Fiona has. We think she will be an excellent first citizen, who will bring a lot to the role, Ard Vera. Look, we recognise it may not happen tonight, it may not happen in this council term, but hopefully in the not too distant future we'll see Councillor Fiona Kearns elected Ard Vera for Cork City. But for this evening, we're nominating Fiona for the role and hope we get as much support as possible. Come on, good.
Can I get a seconder for nomination? Councillor Paddy Janine. Thank you very much. Is there any other nominations? Okay, thank you very much. The two nominations are Councillor Fiona Kearns and Councillor Deirdre Ford. I would now call for the vote, please.
Corlor O'Flynn. Corlor Maher. Corlor Tynan. Corlor Kavanagh. Corlor Moran. Corlor Keohane. Corlor Fitzgerald. Corlor Nugent. Corlor Sheehan. Corlor Collins. Corlor Ryan. Corlor Boylan. Corlor Cahill. Corlor Bogue. Corlor Desmond. Corlor McCarthy. Corlor Shannon. Corlor Ford. Corlor McFinn. Corlor Boyle. Corlor Martin. Corlor O'Callaghan. Corlor Deneen. Corlor Kearns. Corlor Dennehy. Corlor Canty. Corlor Colette-Finn. Ard Vera.
Councillor Deirdre Ford.
Corlor Garrett Kelleher. Corlor Maloney. Corlor Ring.
Councillor. The results of the ballot are as follows. 21 votes in favour of Councillor Deirdre Ford, 5 votes in favour of Councillor Fiona Kearns, and 2 votes abstentions. Gives me great honour and privilege in my last act as Ard Vera Corky to announce that Councillor Deirdre Ford is duly elected to the office of Lord Mayor of Cork.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A grand high seat, thank God. A Corda Galer is more an onordum. Ve I Mushosef and Sho, anocht. Marad Vera nua Kirky. Tá mé siúl go mór leis, an blian atá ag teacht. Outgoing Lord Mayor Colm Kelleher, outgoing Deputy Lord Mayor Mary Rose Desmond, elected members of Cork City Council, Minister Coveney, members of the Oireachtas, members of the European Parliament, Shannon Aaron, Chief Executive Anne Doherty, members of the senior management and the staff of Cork City Council, colleagues, family, friends, colleagues of Cork County Council. It is my very great honour to be elected tonight by my fellow councillors as first citizen of Cork, the rebel city. Councillor Colm Kelleher distinguished himself with a very successful year. We thank him and his family on behalf of the citizens of Cork and wish him and his family every success and health for the coming years. I wish to thank my proposer, Councillor Shane O'Callaghan, and Councillor Colette Finn for their generous words of nomination, and to my Fine Gael group colleagues for putting my name forward as Lord Mayor of this unparalleled city. Needless to say, it is an immensely proud day for me and my extended family. The three rascals over there, Freddie, Rory and McDara in the gallery. Our special girl, Corrine, who's making herself heard here tonight, and my daughter in Australia with her family, who recently emigrated there, and she's watching online. We are also joined by some of my loyal neighbours and friends from Rochestown and Douglas and the community. I can never thank them enough for all they have done for me. Your footprints are in my heart forever. To all those who entrusted me with their vote, thank you for having faith in me. I also want to pay tribute to my political family. As you all know, it would have been impossible for me to survive in the political arena without your support and your work on my behalf. Long hours, late nights, unsolicited advice, cold tea, sandwiches with the ends turned up, and the occasional disagreements. One for all and all for one, kind of. On this day, 63 years ago, on June the 24th, 1959, the first ever first citizen of Cork, Jane Dowdall, was elected, and she was followed by Chrissy Ahern, Deirdre Clune, Catherine Clancy and Mary Shields. In the entire 20th century, Cork only had 2 female mayors. In the first 22 years of this century, we've had 4. Cork City's Women Caucus was launched on International Women's Day last year to promote women in the public life by exploring barriers and challenges to political participation. It is already blazing a trail. It's a great statement that our city, that the Lord Mayor and the Chief Executive are both women. Our daughter and granddaughters must grow up knowing that they can achieve anything our sons and grandsons can. For democracy to survive, politics to function, and a society to thrive, inclusivity and diversity is essential. Government should be representative of the people it serves. If you can see it, you can be it, you can see it. Our newly expanded Cork City presents a brilliant opportunity to nurture and strengthen our communities by delivering climate action as one of the 100 newly elected cities, newly selected EU climate neutral cities, a wonderful opportunity, and delivering an even better quality of life. Cork is a growing city with outstanding potential, and our people are at its heart and soul. We are all reconnecting post-COVID. I'm going to work with my colleagues and the executive to ensure our city centre revitalisation plan takes centre stage. Cork City Council continues to build its partnerships and cooperation with over 500 amazing community groups. I want to see the development of more community parklets, innovative recreational offerings, and sensory playgrounds in our public spaces. These would be a wonderful way to ensure that our citizens, including those with special needs and disabilities, can maintain and improve their well-being. I want a city for all its people. To acknowledge the many families who lost loved ones during the pandemic, who couldn't give them a farewell they deserved, and who were unable to grieve alongside relations and friends. I have called for a tree-lined avenue of celebration and remembrance in Tramore Valley Park. Here people could contribute a tree for their loved ones and place their name on a remembrance wall. This would be a green place that the people of Cork could find solace in for decades to come. And I'm sure they will, and recognise at the same time the Trojan work done by frontline workers. Our city is defined by its warm and welcoming people, its sense of community, its thriving art, culture and heritage. Its 2 outstanding universities and its 40,000 student population. But we must remember and support our hard-working business community, those who create jobs and come up with ideas, those who give employment and who are critical to the economic growth of our city. Despite the uncertainty ahead, we must continue to be optimistic and ambitious, building connections through air and sea links through Europe and beyond. We must capitalise on the huge level of funding allocated by government and the European Union to Cork to deliver homes, sustainable transport and to meet our climate responsibilities. Future generations depend on us to get it right. Finally, I want to be a listening Lord Mayor. My door is always open to anyone who has an idea or solution to any of all of our opportunities and our challenges. I can promise you I will work with all of my councillor colleagues and our executive. We will burn the midnight oil if necessary to ensure that the tide of a city rising truly lifts all boats. We can do this. Cork Igaboo. Thank you all. I will now open the floor for speeches from elected members.
Okay, well, Lord Mayor, distinguished guests, Simon Coveney, Minister Simon Coveney, MEP Deirdre Clune, Jerry Buttermer, Senator, former Lord Mayors and members of our old Cork County Council, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great honour for me to be standing here tonight congratulating Deirdre, our Lord Mayor. No, sorry, I'll have to learn since 1999, when we were both elected above in the North Mon at the count. You bought me chips and I'm still paying you back for them. Every time I meet you anywhere, you remind me, where's the bag of chips? You ate most of them. It was late that night, but since that night, we 2 of us became great, great friends altogether in former County Council and now here in City Council. We treaded an awful lot of roads together. We went around long roads, short roads, you name it. We fought with each other, of course, because you were demanding stuff for Douglas. At the time, I was demanding stuff for Ballincollig, and the executive was in the middle between us. But since that day, we're very great friends altogether, both family. Noreen sends her congratulations tonight. She was sorry she couldn't be here, but I believe she's watching you, so keep to hear. You know, Deirdre, you have to look the part now, you're Lord Mayor. But like that again, I say it was an honour and a privilege to be with you. Years have passed, and when I look back on your history I became the county mayor, I became chairman of different committees in the county and in the city. You sat back and you were quite satisfied to work on behalf of your constituency in Douglas. You fought a good battle all the time, but you were there. You might have been in the long grass waiting for the opportunity. And tonight has now come. You're the first citizen of Cork. As Lord Mayor, you're going to have a fantastic year, and any help that we in the Fine Gael party can support you with, or across the road, or across the chamber, the Fianna Fáil, the Green Party, the Independents, the Labour Party, Sinn Féin, and each and every one of us. We're all there for you. Don't be afraid, as you say, to call and just having a chat or something like. And I'd like to mention tonight our former colleague, Noel Collins, who died only last week. Noel would pick up the phone at 11 o'clock at night time. How are things with you? What's happening? Like that again, we were there for each other, and we're all a big family here. So, Lord Mayor, I'm wishing you all the best for the year ahead. I know you're going to be fantastic at it. And like that again, congratulations and best wishes for the year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Derry. Now I'd like to call on Councillor Colm Kelleher. Mary Rose Desmond.
No problem. Lord Mayor.
I shouldn't forget you, Mary Rose.
I'd say you won't forget me at all, dear. So, Lord Mayor, there's no worries at all. I have to say the AGM of any council is one of the nicest meetings I think that we all attend. There's such a congenial spirit in the room of congratulations to the outgoing and good wishes and goodwill to the incoming Lord Mayor in this case. And this is no different. Lord Mayor, I wish you the very, very best on behalf of the Fianna Fáil group for the year ahead. Certainly will work with you. You have been working for many years hard for your community. I'll just correct the record slightly for Councillor O'Callaghan. As a constituent in Douglas as well, I've been represented by former Lord Mayor Councillor Terry Shannon for many years in the past. But I know you will have a fabulous year. I know you have great sports. It's a wonderful evening for your family in particular, who have been working alongside you for many, many years in politics. And have supported you. I know you speak of them daily in every meeting. Your family are referenced. They are close to you, albeit that Susie is far away this evening. She's close to your heart, I know, and watching in. And very fond memories of Susie not quite getting the seriousness of what politics was all about, and she was quite young at the time. Douglas and Rochestown are a community that you represent well, and work hard for all of the people. I know you'll continue to do that. You've set out a very ambitious stall in your speech, and we'll certainly be very happy to assist you in all of that. It's certainly wonderful to sit here and look up and see 3 women sitting at the top table there this evening, but not just women for the sake of being women, in case there's any groans or eye rolling going on around me, but 3 very, very capable women sitting and have earned their right to the role that they are in. So I look forward to working with you, and if you're certainly feeling the pressure, don't worry, out in Douglas and Rochestown, as your ward colleague, I'd be only too happy to assist you. As I said, I've had the privilege of serving with you in the county council as well, and you certainly gave me, although we be in different parties, you gave me some very strong advices coming into the county. So we've been working together for the last 9 years in council, and I look forward to working with you during your year as Lord Mayor, and the very best of luck to you.
Thank you, Mary Rose. Thank you, Mary Rose. Councillor Colm Kelleher.
Guramagoth, Ardvera, it gives me a great pleasure to address you as Lord Mayor in the Chamber. It's been 2019 since I stood up and spoke in this chamber from the floor because COVID took place, and the last meeting was a special council meeting of the commemoration of the centenary of the election of Tomás McCurtain as Lord Mayor. But having just vacated the seat that you now sit in, and knowing the weight of office that now sits on your shoulders, I wish you the very best in the next 12 months. And you have my unwavering support going forward. I'm absolutely delighted for you, Lord Mayor. Gachra, Buin Hanavas, and as I've said to you time and time again, be yourself. Gramila Magat.
And I call on Councillor Colette Finn.
Buicas Ardvera, Arish Tomig Larratt, their son, Coventus Glass. I had met Councillor Ford before we both got first elected to the new expanded Cork City Council. I met her when, as part of the 50-50 group, we had organised a meeting up in Knocknaheeny. 50-50, for those of you that don't know, was a campaign group that was set up to advance candidate gender quotas, because we'd had enough of the tea and sympathy around having more women in politics. And Councillor Ford turned up to a meeting in Knocknaheeny in a We the People venue, and she shared a platform with Councillor Marion O'Sullivan and Councillor Leal O'Donnell, former councillors on the previous council. And as you said yourself, there was very few votes in the room for you that day, but you turned up anyway. And that is something about you, that if you believe in a certain issue, whether there's votes in it or not, you will put your shoulder to the wheel and do whatever you can. So on behalf of my Green Party colleagues, I want to extend my warmest wishes to you in your new role as Ard Mhéara. And even though the language of politics is quite sexist in the role as Lord Mayor, I know that you will advocate for having a more diverse and a more inclusive chamber. And thank you for that, Rufus.
Thank you, Colette. Councillor Fiona Ryan.
First, I just want to extend my genuine congratulations to Councillor Ford and as well to your friends and family, who I'm sure will be supporting you in what will be hopefully an enjoyable but most likely a challenging year, which is just inherent in the office. I want to also congratulate you on the many of the aspirations and goals you listed in your speech. They are ones that I share broadly, and ones that I think are a necessary and key priority for the city. I suppose here is where my criticism comes in, not personally in any aspect, but from a political perspective, which is why I abstained. And that criticism comes fundamentally about the nature of local authority democracy and the continuous pitfalls that local authorities face in terms of an absence of funding and no mechanism to challenge what is a local authority system that ranks last in the entirety, or joint last in the entirety of the EU and the Local Democracy Index. And that reason is, in reality, the stripping of power that has been systemic and ongoing for over successive governments, and which the pact of which tonight's proposal and every other one that has come before it has, in my opinion, worsened. It strips from us a mechanism to challenge the central government by deciding Lord Mayorships years in advance, and budgets too, and chairs at that. It creates a situation that I think lends itself to stagnation. That's not to say that you as an individual won't put forward an innovative and much needed diversity towards the position, and for that I wish you nothing but the best, and will be happy to support many of the initiatives that you've outlined in your speech. But I feel that part of the problem is that many of those aspirations, I strongly feel, aren't achievable because of the funding crisis that local authorities face, the centralisation of funding and the lack of funding mechanisms that we have, and very little ability to challenge that. So I'll leave it at that. I wish you nothing but the best, and we'll be looking forward to working with you over the next year.
Thank you, Fiona. Councillor Ted Tynan.
Margaret Ard Mhéara, and congratulations. And just to explain my position as abstaining on the vote, it was for political reasons. And just to give an example of two aspects of those political reasons, you represent the political establishment in this country, represented at the moment by Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and the Green Party. I have stood with families in the last couple of weeks, families where children are waiting and waiting and waiting on lists for assessment and for assistance from the state so that those children could grow and get on with life, but they're being totally ignored and they're in their thousands. I meet them all the time. And I think this is an indictment on the political establishment of this state, represented by a number of political parties. And also, the other major issue in this city and indeed throughout the country is the housing emergency that is raging out there and getting slowly but surely, rapidly out of control. I've highlighted the fact that there is a tsunami of evictions coming down the road, and there's absolutely no provision being made by central government to tackle this major issue that is coming down. I've heard of at least 100 cases due for eviction in September this year. These eviction notices were served by landlords who are abiding by the rule laid down by central government, i.e. the length of time and notice given for an eviction. I met a 78-year-old lady in the last few weeks who got a notice on the 2nd of June from her landlord informing her that she must vacate the premises by the 6th of June. Totally and absolutely illegal. And the rent she is paying on her own is €665 a month. This rent is based on an old tenancy agreement that was negotiated between her parents when she was 15 years of age and the landlord of this particular house at that time. It's in my own area, my own Northeast Ward area. She is now 78 years of age. Her parents have passed on. Her brothers and sisters have moved on to other parts of the city and country. She herself went to Cardiff University and graduated from there, fell in love with Wales and travelled Wales extensively in her years in growing up. And I again repeat, she is 78 years of age.
Thank you.
The shock that that woman received by post on the 2nd of June is appalling. The letter probably took about 5 days to get to her. So the thinking behind that action and that landlord, it's appalling. The greed and avarice that was expressed in that letter and the terror that that woman has gone through since. Luckily, Threshold have now taken up her case and their solicitors are representing her. But because of the laws and because of the way this country is subservient to the dominant position in our constitution of the rights of private property, she will face eviction in some time later in this year. I brought her case to the housing department and immediately they gave a guarantee that that woman will not end up on the side of the street or in a refuge, that she will be housed by Cork City Council Housing Department. And I compliment the Housing Director. But these are the issues, Ardvera, why I abstained. Personally, I wish you all the best as Ardvera Corkig, and I hope you have a very good year and all the best to yourself and your family. I know it's an honour that you take proudly, and it is a proud honour when you study the histories, particularly of McCurt and Maxini. They were the people who blazed the trail at the time and gave their lives for that office and for their ideals. And I leave that Ardvera Margaret.
Thank you, Councillor Tynan. Councillor Paddy Deneen.
Gora Margaret Ardvera, and just a welcome to Minister Coveney, MEP Deirdre Clune and Senator Buttenborough also, and former Lord Mayors. First of all, I'd just like to congratulate you on your election this evening. I know you'll be a great Lord Mayor going forward, and I look forward to working with you over the next 12 months. However, with that said, I must call into question the processes involved in the election. As you know, this is a bone I will pick every year, and basically the processes tonight, while it does look like it was a democratic process, it certainly wasn't, you know, at the end of the day. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, passes like a duck, it must be a duck. That is correct in 99% of cases, but in this one instant, it's not the case. The processes tonight actually omit many, many councillors from achieving the office of Lord Mayor, and always will. And I think this is duly and very, very unfair to everyone here tonight. We're all 31 members of the council. We're all duly elected by the people. And the process needs to be called into question. And I go back to 2019, there was a vote taken to have a directly elected Lord Mayor. I know it was very badly thought out and ill thought out, to be honest, and because of that it was rejected. But I think there's more of a simple way of doing it, a simple way forward, and that is by allowing the 5 poll toppers in our 5 wards to be the nominees for our Lord Mayor for the 5-year term. And even if they decide not to, then it goes to the second person in that line. And I think this is a much more fairer process. It will involve all 31 equally, and it will mean that each one of those Lord Mayors or Deputy Lord Mayors would have been duly elected by the people themselves and not us here tonight. So I do call into question the process. I would ask you to look at that possibility of changing maybe standing orders in your term. I think I'm not even sure if it needs legislation to do this, but I presume standing orders would permit it, perhaps. But I would ask you just to look into it, and I would welcome a discussion on a process that's fair to all across the board over the 5-year term. And with that said, I wish you well and look forward to working with you in the next term. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Ken O'Flynn.
Thank you, my Lord Mayor. Lord Mayor, I rise to congratulate you as an independent councillor beholden to nobody in this chamber or involved in no pact. I simply voted for you because you were the best candidate. And that's what I firmly believe. Minister, members of the Oireachtas, former Lord Mayor, MEP, our relationship goes back, I think, about 25 years. You were 9 and I was 3. And we've worked together on various committees in various different organisations. When people were talking about women's rights a very long time ago, Councillor Deirdre Ford, and just Deirdre Ford, was talking about human rights and making no differentiating between women's rights and human rights. I think actually Hillary Clinton probably stole the phrase because women's rights are human rights and human rights are women's rights. And I think I first heard you say that in probably 1998 at a meeting in an organisation that we used to be involved with. You two, we share a kindred spirit in the fact that we suffered the slings and arrows of misfortune, but we've been able to rise above that and carry on and keep going. I think what actually amazes me about you, Lord Mayor, and knowing you personally, is your dedication not only to Douglas and Rochestown and the areas that you served, but very much so your dedication and interest in the city. In having served with you on the Everyman Theatre, I never came across somebody who knew as much about theatre and the workings of theatre and the financing of theatre as somebody with no theatrical experience or no theatrical management experience. And I remember saying to you in one of the first board meetings, as I leaned over and said, "How do you know all that?" She said, "Well, if I don't know something, I'll find somebody who does." And that's very much so the type of character you are, that you research everything, you know everything, you get your facts and you get your figures in place. And I have no doubt in your role as Lord Mayor of this city, you will be exactly the same. Straight, dynamic, elegant as always, and 100% correct. Lord Mayor, congratulations to you and your family tonight, and I look forward to assisting you in any way I can in my role as a member of council, or if you select me as a deputy perhaps in the northeast area, hint hint, and I'm also available as an escort. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Flynn. Councillor McNugent.
Cuardas Advera, I was nearly close to voting for you tonight because you said myself and Councillor Ken Collins the other day were handsome young men, so I said, no, in fairness, look, Terry's looking at me quizzically there, I don't know, does he believe me or not? But, no, No, look, we recognise this very special occasion for yourself, and best wishes to everybody in the public gallery. We do look forward to working with you during the year. We would be interested in taking up your invitation. We discussed it before the meeting, maybe, if you were elected, about meeting yourself, our team, just our group. Just discuss your, I suppose, objectives for the year, and we'll have a two-way discussion about how we would see things as well, how things could maybe be improved, maybe in the chamber. So we might take you up on that. Or just in terms of the housing, just very briefly, look, mentioned there was, we could hear them outside, to be fair, citizens of Cork outside the chamber tonight, talk about housing and the housing crisis, and I believe they're in the city centre tomorrow on the Grand Parade at 1 o'clock as well. But look, we'll return to that on another occasion. I'm sure we'll have plenty of debates over the year ahead around the cost of living and housing and other things. But for the meantime, for tonight, our very best congratulations, Advera.
Thank you. Councillor John Maher.
Thank you, Ardvera. I suppose I have a small thank you to make because I had a short-lived career in modelling, thanks to yourself. It goes back to, thank God, says many of you, but it goes back to 2005, and I worked with a marketing company, and you were organising the Mayor's Ball in County Hall. And the plan anyway wasn't going according to plan, and this lady, or no, Ardvera, had said to me, "Come here, I want you. You're going to wear these jerseys." So I said kind of flippantly, "I am." And I went back to my boss and I said, "There's some woman there saying I have to wear these jerseys." It was a Cork jersey and a Munster rugby. And he looked and he said, "Which one?" And there was a number of women, and I had pointed at yourself, and he says, "You get down there and you do what she tells you." So as we were in the hall, and there was obviously wasn't set up as a changing room. So literally I looked and I said, "Where's this going to happen?" And by God, did you make it happen right there in front? And I was up modelling the jerseys, and you made quite a lot of money that night. But on a serious note, in 2019 when I got into council, and I think all the newer councillors will testify, is that while everyone would think the chamber is a nice place, and it is, it's still very daunting and it becomes very overwhelming. But the one thing that struck with me from the very early days was that Deirdre always had a smile. She always had a kind word, and even a word of encouragement, and more importantly, she'd give me a nod and she'd say, "I'm not sure either, but let's go." And they were so important for a new councillor coming in. That was very overwhelmed, even though now, 3 years in, I realised that's not that bad. But again, I love your style, I love your honesty, and I love your orderliness. And I think that's something that's really one of your key traits, is that you can talk up here and you can come down here and you're comfortable, and you're welcoming and you're open. And when you set out today your ambition, you ticked a number of boxes, and we've spoken about them, and all the councillors here have heard them, and I look forward to the next 12 months of working with you to achieve those. Congratulations, Ardvera, and have a great time. Thanks.
And can I say that thanks to John and his efforts on that night, 100,000 was raised for Special Olympics. Chief Executive.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I'd like to join in congratulating you on your election this evening, and very much look forward to working with you. On behalf of myself and all of the team, we're always there for you. You can be assured that we will always give you the best advice possible that we can. It will be unbiased, it will be fair, and it will be reasonable, and we look forward to sharing that with you. You set out a very ambitious plan for the year, which I think is the right plan, and I really look forward to working with you on it. The relationship between the Chief Executive and the Lord Mayor is a very special one, and I'm sure ours will be absolutely fabulous, as I've enjoyed with all the other Lord Mayors, I hope, or maybe they might say different now. I don't know. And I really look forward to it, and we're always there for you. So
thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And now I believe we'll take nominations for the position of Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork for the coming year. Councillor Garrett Ahern, or sorry, Councillor Kelleher, how could I forget you?
Bhaile mu sach barda mo chordagus a chur núil dit féin agus de chlán Asocht the bheith tótha nocht mar ardmhéar a chorcaí tá sulagum go nairóid go gheallat sa bblion atá le teacht agus cuimhnigh tú anna henavas. Ardmhéar, I rise to nominate Corlord Damien Boylan for the position of Las Ardmhéar a chorcaí. I have got to know Damien pretty well since we first met approximately 10 years ago. We had the shared experience of both being unsuccessful in our first election 8 years ago when we sought seats in Cork County Council. And they say that you learn more about somebody in their reaction to defeat than victory, and that certainly is true in Damien's case. He wasted no time feeling sorry for himself or dwelling on the narrow margin of his election defeat, but rather immersed himself even more in local voluntary activity for the betterment of his community. And this commitment and work ethic was rewarded in the 2019 local election when Damien was successfully elected. Reflecting on that achievement some years later, I recall Damien saying to me, "Gar, I'm a city boy, and I'm delighted that it was the Cork City Council I was elected." As well as being a proud Cork City man, Damien is a proud Northsider, where he sported and played, a proud Mon boy, a proud Blarney man, and a man who is never far from whatever work needs to be done in his community. Damien, however, most importantly, is a family man, and I know that he thrives on the love and support he receives from his wife Brenda, his children Kate and Simon, and from his mum and dad Anne and Tony, who are here this evening. Ardmhéar agus a chairde, it gives me enormous pleasure to nominate my friend and colleague Damien Boylan for the position of Las Ardmhéar a chorcaí. Gurmíd amhaglibh.
Next extension time. Thank you very much. Councillor John Sheehan, seconder.
Thank you, Ardmhéar, and congratulations. It gives me a great honour to second the nomination of Councillor Damien Boylan for the position of Las Ardmhéar, Lord Mayor. As Councillor Kelleher outlined, Councillor Boylan has many attributes, and I've had the honour and the privilege of knowing Damien for many, many years. He represents, I suppose, an awful lot what's good about public service, Lord Mayor, that the ability to get involved and do things for the benefit of your community without favour, without self-interest, but just because it's the right thing to do. His involvement in many community activities in Blarney, such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Tidy Towns, Darkness into Light, to name but a few, is just an example of the workload that he takes on. Before he became a councillor, Lord Mayor, he was involved in all of these attributes. And like so many people here in City Hall, he hails from the North Mon, which is just an incubator both of Lord Mayors, councillors and officials here in City Hall. Absolutely. So, you know, he has roots both in the city here, Baker's Road, the Mon, and Blarney, where he lives. Damien is very much focused on getting things done and solutions to problems, and he's, since his time of election here in council, he has been willing to work with everyone in trying to come up with solutions that advances the needs of people in their community, and also coming up with practical solutions right across the board. He's a very esteemed colleague, and I think he would make an excellent Deputy Lord Mayor. I'd like to also just, I suppose, acknowledge his family who are here today, because I think that's a very, very proud moment for them, because nobody gets elected by themselves and they beg many indulgences during their, during election period. So I'd like to acknowledge them, especially his children, Kate and Simon, and especially Brenda, who has had a busy week, Lord Mayor. She was at the Pet Shop Boys, Darragh O'Brien, and now to top it all, a council meeting. That's perhaps more excitement than anyone could have in 1 week. And finally, Lord Mayor, I just want to reassure Councillor Boylan that, in his absence in representing the city, I'm sure myself and my other ward councillors will give our full attention to the ward area, to Blarney and the surrounding district, so he can rest easy knowing that we are diligently working away. Thanks, Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other nominees?
Thanks, Ard Vera. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations, and I'm looking forward to working with you throughout the year. I'm delighted to see you sitting in the chair, and I think we'll work very well throughout the year. I stand to nominate Councillor Olin Ring for Deputy Ard Vera, Deputy Lord Mayor. Olin Ring was co-opted in just over a year ago by a esteemed colleague who stepped down, Councillor Henry Cremon, who I think spread himself across the aisle and worked closely with many people. And I think Olin took on the battle and he's done exactly the same thing. And I think Henry Cremon would be very proud of the person that took over from him and the person that's working diligently within his community and had done before he became a councillor in Cork City. And I'd like to nominate for Lass Ard Vera tonight. Thanks, Ard Vera.
Thank you, Councillor Maloney. Thank you. Okay. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Ring? Yeah. Okay, so we can call a vote, please.
Cólar O'Flynn. Cólar Maher. Cólar Tynan. Cólar Kavanagh. Cólar Moran. Cólar Keohane. Cólar Fitzgerald. Cólar Nugent. Cólar Sheehan. Cólar Collins. Cólar Ryan. Cólar Boylan. Cólar Cal. Cólar Bogue. Cólar Desmond. Cólar McCarthy. Cólar Shannon. Ard Vera.
Councillor Damien Boylan.
Cólar Mick Finn. Cólar Boyle. Cólar Martin. Cólar O'Callaghan. Cólar Deneen. Cólar Kearns. Cólar Dennehy. Cólar Canty. Cólar Colette Finn. Cólar Colm Kelleher. Cólar Garrett Kelleher. Cólar Maloney. Cólar Ring.
Okay, with the majority of votes in his favour, I hereby declare Corlori Damien Boylan elected the Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork for the coming year with 21 votes. And just to make sure everybody heard me, 21 votes for Councillor Boylan, 5 for Olin Ring and 1 abstention. So now I'd like to call on Deputy Lord Mayor Damien Boylan. It gives me great pleasure indeed.
Oh, here we go. Good Mahagut Ard Vera, Corlori, Shanador, Ard Verna, Ara, McClone, August McCarda Fain. Is more an ordum of a tofu mar last Ard Vera Corky. It is indeed a great honour for me to be elected Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork, and I am humbled by the support of my colleagues. Many thanks to my proposers, Councillor Garrett Kelleher and Councillor John Sheehan, two people I admire greatly, both as councillors and as gentlemen. I am immensely proud of my good friend and colleague, the new Lord Mayor. Many congratulations, Lord Mayor. This is your night. I believe that in your term you will bring those attributes we all know you well for: a calming influence, a respectful tone, and an air of authority that we all admire. I look forward to your tenure. To the outgoing Lord Mayor, it has been a privilege to sit on a council while you were in the chair. You brought a new energy and a different approach to the office. It was the tonic the city needed after a protracted lockdown. Take a rest, you've earned it. Congratulations to you and to Sandra on your upcoming family edition, and once again, Mila Buikas. To Las Ardvera, Mary Rose Desmond, you fulfilled your role as support for the outgoing Lord Mayor perfectly. And my hope is that I can do the same for our new Lord Mayor. You also deserve a break after a busy year, so please enjoy that. I stand here as a proud Corkman, a Monboy, a Northsider, and a Blarney resident. I sincerely appreciate that my fellow councillors would have faith in me for such a role, and for that you have my eternal gratitude. I stand as a husband, a father, and son, thankful to my family for their support. Politics sometimes can be a selfish pursuit, and there are sacrifices that have to be made by those around us. And I thank my wife Brenda and my children Kate and Simon for their patience and their tolerance with me. To my parents Tony and Anne, who are here tonight, well, who'd have thought? My thanks for all you've done for me. The Lord Mayor has laid out her plans and hopes for the year. I see my role as a support for her, and I will do all in my power to represent her, my city, and its council as best I can when called upon. Go raibh maith agat a rís Ardmhéara, ar aghaidh.
Councillor Boylan, would you like to collect your chain? I'd like to thank you all very much. The meeting is now closed.